You think overthinking means something is wrong with you, that your brain is broken, undisciplined, weak. But psychology actually shows overthinking is your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do. And that might completely change how you understand your own mind forever. In the next few minutes, we're uncovering why your brain compulsively loops on problems, what's really happening in the neural circuits behind it, why trying harder to stop actually makes it worse, and the one psychological insight that finally gives you a way out. Not a productivity hack, real brain science. Stay close. Here's what most of us get wrong. We treat overthinking like a bad habit, something to discipline away. Like if we just focused hard enough, we could switch it off. But your brain doesn't work like a light switch. It works more like a search engine, and one that never stops running background queries. Always scanning, always cross-referencing, always asking, is there a threat I missed? This background process has a name. Psychologists call it rumination, the tendency to repetitively focus on distressing thoughts, problems, and their possible causes. And here's the critical thing. Rumination isn't a flaw, it's a feature. Your brain evolved to obsessively analyze unresolved problems because for most of human history, missing a threat meant death. Your overthinking brain kept your ancestors alive. But here's where it gets wild. The paradox most people miss is your brain cannot tell the difference between a real threat and an imagined one. A saber-toothed tiger in the jungle activates the same neural circuitry as a text you sent 3 days ago with no reply. The danger signal is identical. The rumination loop is identical. Your brain is solving for survival. The problem is, most of your modern threats aren't survivable. They're social, emotional, abstract. And you can't outrun an abstract threat. Two brain structures matter here, and understanding them changes everything. First, the amygdala, your threat detection system. It fires before you're even consciously aware of a problem, tagging experiences as dangerous, uncertain, or unresolved. Once tagged, the brain won't let it go until it feels resolved. Second, the default mode network, the same system we met in our tiredness episode. When you're not focused on an external task, this network activates automatically. And for chronic overthinkers, research shows it hyperconnects, creating a self-referential loop that replays the past and pre-experiences the future on a relentless cycle. Have you ever noticed that your worst overthinking happens right before sleep, when there's no distraction left? That's your default mode network with nothing to compete with. Just you and every unresolved thought your amygdala ever filed. Picture this. Your brain isn't tormenting you. It's desperately trying to protect you from something it can't quite locate. And yet, despite this being a survival mechanism, most people respond by fighting themselves. Shame spirals. Why can't I just stop? Self-judgment layered on top of the loop. What almost nobody realizes is fighting the loop makes it stronger. Resistance is attention, and attention feeds rumination. The brain amplifies what it focuses on, including the instruction to stop focusing. So the real psychological insight here is this. Overthinking isn't a character flaw, it's a calibration error. Your threat detection system is exquisitely sensitive, tuned for a world that no longer exists, and it's working overtime trying to keep you safe from dangers that live entirely in the mind. The way out isn't force, it isn't distraction. It's giving your brain what it's actually asking for: resolution, safety, and signal that the threat has passed. Name the thought, acknowledge it, let the brain file it as seen. Because a brain that feels heard doesn't need to keep shouting. If this flipped your view of the mind even a little, smash like, subscribe for more brain resets every week, and drop in the comments what surprised you most.